You're watching HFO-TV.
Welcome back to HFO-TV. I'm Kirk Douglas, Marketing Director at HFO. Here with me today is Phil Owen, past president of the Rental Housing Association of Greater Portland. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
Our topic today is the recent legislation that passed that makes Section 8 recipients a protected class. So I was wondering if we could start with some basics for people like me, and that is, what exactly is a protected class?
Well, a protected class is they're trying to keep you from discriminating based on the race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, national origin, marital status, familial status, and now they have added source of income for any person.
So it's not just Section 8, it's source of income. That's lumped into.
That is the source of, this is the persons may not be discriminated because of.
Okay.
And so that's where it is. Now, I don't know that this carries over into making source of income a protected class for everything, like whether, I mean, there's a lot of things that income wouldn't affect, and so would that still be listed on the protected class? I think that is a designation for this piece of legislation only.
Okay.
And I would not go out saying that source of income is going to be protected class across the board.
So when someone qualifies for a voucher for rent assistance, how much do they get? Do you know?
That depends on their income. It's on a sliding scale, and they generally try to make it so that the recipient of the Section 8 has enough to keep them invested in the program, where they're paying some money for it. It's not, they don't want them to have a full ride, but they want them to be able to live, you know, be able to pay their food and keep themselves going. So.
Okay. So they pay the difference between the voucher amount and the rent of the place that they're living in.
Exactly.
Does the landlord provide any kind of discount to a voucher recipient?
I have talked to landlords that after the inspection of the premises, Section 8 has come back and said, well, we don't feel that we can pay this amount for this unit, and you're going to, you know, have to negotiate the price down. And I personally would never do that. I would, but the people that I've talked to says, well, we've already in it this far. We waited for a month to get the unit inspected and get everything cleared and okayed, and now do we turn this person down and walk away with nothing?
Right.
Or do we adjust our rents and let them move in? So, you know, the housing authorities have played a little heavy-handed with some of that.
What are some of the reasons that landlords opted out or into participating in Section 8 rental housing in the past?
Well, obviously, you're talking about going into a contract with the federal government, and you're talking about going into something where you're giving away a lot of control. You're going to have a mandatory lease period. Most of the housing authorities in the state require one-year leases because that's what HUD wants them to get. Home Forward in Portland has used their weight to convince HUD to adjust those leases down, and in Portland you can get a 6-month lease. So that gives us a little bit more incentive, but you're still having to go into a lease, and you're still having to give up the ability to evict somebody for no cause. You're locked into a fixed term, and then you're going to have to deal with the housing authority. If you have a problem with a tenant, it's just going to be a lot harder to get rid of them.
Okay. So this new law requires apartment owners to take Section 8 vouchers starting July 1, 2014.
No,
right?
all it does is it requires you to accept the application.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to take a Section 8 voucher tenant. It says right here that you can turn them down based upon past conduct,
Okay.
or if they still don't make enough money, including the amount of the voucher that they're going to get, if they don't make enough money to be able to live there.
Okay.
So you still have that to be able to turn somebody down.
As part of this new law, the state set up a fund to reimburse owners for up to $5,000 worth of damages caused by Section 8 residents. What do you make of that?
Well, it says here in the law that you can donate money to that fund if you'd like to, because they don't know where they're going to get it.
Okay.
There is no designated fund yet, and you will have to get this fund, you will still have to pay the first $500, and you will have to sue the tenant in small claims court to be able to collect any money, and then you're only going to be able to collect up to $2,000.
Okay.
So if they do more damage than that, you're going to be out of luck, and you're going to pay the first $500 out of pocket. So, I mean, obviously what that's going to do is that's going to mean that there is not going to be any security deposits less than $500.
Right. Okay. Okay. So what I noticed when I read through that was that you have to get the court judgment, which sounds like kind of a hassle. That the state will go after the renter for the money. Theoretically, if they pay a landlord, then they go after the renter themselves to try to collect it.
Right.
Do you have experience yourself with Section 8 voucher recipients?
Right now, I have 5 Section 8 clients in the apartments that I own. And over the years, I've had many Section 8 tenants. I've never had a problem taking Section 8 tenants. I've always tried to stay on top of my tenants. I'm the kind of a landlord that is generally at the property every day and seeing my tenants and knowing what's going on. And so I don't let problems get away from me. But the problem is not everybody runs the property like I do, and there's a lot of people that will rent to a Section 8 voucher holder and not go out to the property for several months. And I've got a lot of friends that have told me some real horror stories about results from Section 8 tenants.
Okay, which may be why they set up that fund.
That's why they set up the fund. A full rent paying tenant probably has a job, and if you sue them in small claims court, you can probably go recover your costs. A Section 8 tenant, the chances of them having a good job where if you did sue them, you could actually recover the money you wouldn't be able to. The Speaker Kotek's idea on starting the fund was to make it so that a person on Section 8 that probably doesn't have a good job, if you sued them, you normally wouldn't be able to recover anything because they wouldn't have any money to recover from. And so in order to get that Section 8 tenant up on the same plane as a working prospect, they put this fund there so that a landlord actually had a chance of recovering damages from a Section 8 client.
Okay. Now, how do you think this new law will change the lives of Section 8 housing participants?
I don't think it's going to change it much at all.
Okay.
I think it's going to strike fear in landlords that don't have the background to study and understand what the law says. They're going to hear on the news that now the Section 8's a protected class, and they are automatically going to feel that they have to rent to every Section 8 applicant that comes along, and they're not going to know how to handle this. I think for somebody like me that's in the business and understands the law, and I can actually read the law, I don't think that it's going to change the way that I do business. It just kind of makes me mad that somebody is coming down and saying, well, you have to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. For the residents themselves that receive vouchers, do you think it's going to change their lives?
You know, when we went in and I sat down from here to there with Speaker Kotek, I asked her, I says, tell me what you're trying to accomplish with this bill. She never answered the question. I says, are you trying to make it so that that person can live in any neighborhood? Do you want it so that they can live out in Oregon City or Lake Oswego? I says, if you want to do that, then what you need to do is you need to raise the rent that you're willing to pay. I says, you know, what is it that you think that this bill is going to do? Are you trying to get voucher holders in every neighborhood in the city? And I says, you know, this isn't going to do that. This is, you know, I honestly feel this is a political move that the speaker has taken that looks good, sounds good, is going to make a lot of waves. It's certainly raising her profile in the state because of the way that some people, you know, maybe felt that Speaker Kotek was not up to the job of being Speaker of the House, and here she's taken something and has been able to elevate it and force it down the throats of a lot of lawmakers that, you know, I don't think is going to accomplish a lot, but it's sure made a lot of people afraid.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot to take in.
Well, you know, the political game, I think there's a lot that goes on in the political games. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I just don't see where, you know, little things like they've made it illegal in here for you to tell somebody that they shouldn't take Section 8. That's in the bill. It's illegal now. Mm-hmm. You know, there's just so many things. I mean, right down to them getting the funds to fund this this new fund that they have. They're looking for donations. Now, how many people are going to donate to this state fund so that they can have monies there available? And out of that fund, not only has to come the reimbursement to the landlords that do sue, but it also has to pay for the administration of the fund. So there's going to be payroll coming out of that fund.
What if there's no money available? Does that mean the landlords don't get anything?
Well, that would seem reasonable to me. Huh. If there's no money available in the fund, you can sue them all day long, but there's no money there. What are you going to do? You're going to walk out of small claims court and you're going to have a judgment against a tenant that's got no money. And a promise from the state that, you know, maybe once they get some money, they'll give it to you. But there's nothing to say that it's going to be there.
Wow. Phil Owen, past president of the Rental Housing Association of Greater Portland, thank you for joining us today and giving us a little insight into the latest legislative bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching HFO-TV. To learn more about HFO, call or visit our website. See new listings, apartment news, videos, and more when you download our apps at the Android and iPhone markets.